So, you know, I like to talk about healing and relationships and stuff. I talk a lot about different current events and how to really look at them from a different perspective about the things that are going on around us. And sometimes, like, you can see things that people are going through, but you can't really say anything to them. Not everybody, like I said the other day, not everybody wants, you know, to talk so you can fix them. And a lot of souls, they just want to go through it and experience it and grow from it. And, you know, some of us who have always had like this wide open vision, like every single thing that happens, I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. It's like, sometimes it can be a blessing if somebody listens to you, but it can also be a curse because nobody wants to hear it. So, I was thinking that some things I just want to kind of share them on here is to be, you know, because I think sometimes people are just confused in their own life and they're looking for those answers. And sometimes you hear something and you feel like, oh, that's the sign. And so that's what I want to do, is give somebody that sign. Because as a person, no matter, you know, who or what, or you identify, whatever, every single person deserves to be treated, you know, to their highest priority, to how they feel that they should be treated. Nobody should be shamed and be treated or downgraded. We should all know our own worth. And I've found my own worth by, you know, isolation, being like a hermit, and really, I learned a lot about myself during this time, and it's been a gift. And it's so funny is sometimes you don't think like, oh, well, this should happen now. This should happen now. And I'll think like I've got all the answers, but then things will happen the way they're supposed to happen. It's like, oh my gosh, I would have not ever, like I would have never done that if this wouldn't happen. I would have never learned that if this wouldn't happen. And that's how we got to get into that sync with, you know, time and experience and stuff. But when people are here learning about relationships, a lot of relationships right now is to teach us how to love ourselves and how to really figure out what's important in relationships, what's important in the world. You know, that's what we're learning about as souls. And so there's a lot of people, you know, who are breaking free of a lot of dysfunctional relationships. There's a lot of things that are being very highlighted about codependency and these different, you know, the narcissistic personality with the sensitive. And I think that has been a part of my whole thing. But you can't get into that thing about it's a victim, you know, oh, I'm the victim. No, I played a part, but we all have to play a part, the good, the bad. We all have to play a part to learn. So they're teaching us as we're teaching them. It's an exchange in information of learning that you may not understand until you go for your life review. It may feel very toxic to you. It may feel very, you know, a lot of people have taken it on as victimizing themselves. And that's what we have to move out of. We have to see that we're playing a part too. There's nobody that is doing something to us. We're just all playing a part. And so, you know, that is one thing I think that people will kind of start understanding more about relationships because that's when you start understanding your part, what you're doing to create this, because you're creating a hostile environment for the other person too. Like they're really going through something as well. And so you get like, that is where you're like on this lower dimension, the lower vibration, and you pull each other in because you're both going through something that you kind of like need each other. And it will feel, sometimes we think like, oh, this relationship's going to save us. It's going to heal us. It's going to make everything all better. And it will do that, but it's not going to do it in the way that you think. It's going to do it through a lot of painful experiences, because the ultimate goal is for you to learn about yourself. Not to fix that relationship, not to fix the other person. It's to learn about yourself. And when that relationship doesn't feel right anymore, and it feels heavy, and it feels like a burden, and it feels like you're not being appreciated or treated right, is when you need to realize, oh, I can leave this. I don't have to stay in this experience anymore. I came, I learned, I know what I'm ready to move forward and see what's the next one. What's my next experience going to bring me? And I am, huge proponent for really focusing on self. I wish I would have done it at a younger age and could have lived more of my life after that. But, you know, I feel fortunate that we're going to have all of this advancement in technology. So this is probably only the beginning of my life. And so that is exciting, because I feel rebirthed from whatever I went through of losing everything and having to rebuild myself and to, you know, figure out my place in the world. And so a lot of people are having a lot of difficulties in relationships. And I went through a lot of difficulties in a lot of relationships. And I don't, you know, I don't say it's that I was just as toxic to them as they were to me. It was just, we were there to learn. And one of the things too is I think that people need to realize that sometimes we need to learn apart from each other. So you can be in a relationship with somebody and you've just developed bad habits. You are constantly blaming the others. You have so much resentment. You just get in these bad habits and it just becomes really toxic and self-destructive. And sometimes, you know, that separation, that time apart, but really working on themselves. Look how many people, they take this separation like, okay, we're married, we love each other, we remember when we loved each other, let's do a separation. Then they just go out and just like, oh, well, what would it feel like if I just go have my own life? That's not a separation. That is just, you know, feeling like you missed out on something. That's not true growth. And then usually just they go right back into another shitty relationship. These are the patterns that have developed that we've created by, you know, well, there's a whole bunch of environmental reasons, but they've been toxic ways that we've dealt with each other. So if you have a relationship where you are not being valued, and you have that going off inside of you, like these signals are telling you, like, you're not appreciated and stuff like that, listen to those signals, because sometimes stepping away from that relationship, saying, you know what, this isn't working for me. This, you know, may be good for you, but it's not working for me. I need to go away from you. And then you have time to yourself to figure out your own stuff. Like, am I asking too much? You know, I feel I really want this. I need this in my heart and soul. And, you know, we get in these relationships where people are like, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. It's just this constant blaming. Like, you're making me feel bad. You're making me, you shouldn't do that. And then I wouldn't feel bad. It's like, that's what we got to get out of that. So when you can go and you can take that time, you have to take that responsibility. You can't go around blaming other people. So you have to look at your own self. You have to reevaluate things and get in touch with your own self to know, like, no, I really do need this. And then sometimes taking yourself out of that situation, then this person has to prioritize, like, do I love this person enough to give something? Is this a relationship that I feel fulfilled in? Is this what I want? You know, like, it is this kind of growing. And hopefully a lot of the people do that before they just go off to see what life would be like without the other person. But I feel like there's just a lot of something would be better if it was that a lot of this grass would always be greener on the other side. That's kind of, oh my gosh. It's so dark in here without the light. Oh, well, I'm just gonna